It is a Monday morning in October, and your alarm goes off at 6:14, the same way it has gone off at 6:14 every weekday for 11 years. You reach for it the same way. You silence it the same way. You lie there in the dark for a moment the same way. And then you do the thing you have been doing for 11 years, without ever once stopping to ask whether you were going to keep doing it. You get up, you make coffee, you drive the same road in the same direction at the same time as the same people who are also driving the same road in the same direction at the same time. The radio says something about traffic. You already know about the traffic. You have known about the traffic for 11 years. You sit in it anyway. You are not miserable. That is the part nobody talks about. You are not suffering. You are just inside something, and you cannot see the walls, because you have been inside it long enough that the walls became the world. You are 27. Your salary is $61,000, and your student loans have 6 years left on them. You have $1,200 in a savings account and $3,400 in a 401k your company set up automatically when you were hired, and you never changed the contribution because you never thought about it. You have a gym membership you use in streaks, a streaming subscription you use more, and a car payment that arrives on the 15th with the same quiet authority as gravity. You are not behind, not exactly. You are just running at exactly the speed required to stay in place, which is the only speed the arrangement ever asks of you, and the only speed it ever rewards. A coworker named Danny mentions a book at lunch. She says it changed the way she thinks about money. You nod. You say you'll look it up. That night, you look it up. You read it in 11 days on your phone during your commute, which is the only time you ever seem to read anything anymore. The book says a thing that lands differently than you expected. It says your time is the only thing you are actually selling, and the company is buying it at whatever price it named first, and you accepted. You put the phone down at a red light. The light turns green. You keep driving. The book says there is a number at which your money makes enough money to cover your life without your body needing to be anywhere. It calls this financial independence. You have heard the phrase before in the abstract way you have heard the phrase compound interest, technically aware of it and practically untouched by it. You run the number that night at the kitchen table. Your life costs about $3,100 a month after tax. That is $37,200 a year. Multiply by 25. The number is $930,000. You stare at it. You check the math. You stare at it again. It is not a small number, but it is not the number you thought it was going to be either. You thought it was going to be 10 million. You thought it was going to be a lottery. You thought freedom was a number that belonged to someone else entirely. $930,000 is not a lottery. $930,000 is a math problem, and math problems have answers. You are 28. You make 3 changes and you do not announce any of them. You increase the 401k contribution to the maximum the plan allows. You open a Roth IRA on a Tuesday night and put $500 in it and buy 1 index fund. Total market, no opinion required. And you set up an automatic transfer of $400 on the first of every month into a brokerage account that will become, over time, the third leg of something you are only beginning to understand the shape of. The total monthly redirect is $1,140. You feel it for about 3 weeks, and then your spending quietly adjusts to match what remains, and you stop feeling it. That is the whole design. Remove it before you can spend it. Let the gap do the work. Nobody at your job knows. Nobody at home knows. Your friends do not know. The Monday morning commute does not know. You sit in the same traffic, in the same car, on the same road, and the whole arrangement assumes you are still fully inside it. You are, for now. But there is a small machine running in the background that was not running before, and it runs whether you think about it or not. That is the part that changes everything and shows on nothing. You are 31. The portfolio across all 3 accounts is $67,000. You have contributed $47,000 of that yourself. The other $20,000 appeared out of time. You did not earn it at the desk. You did not drive it to work. You were asleep for most of it. You do the math on the number one night, not because you are worried, because you are curious in the way you are curious when something is working, and you want to see how far the working goes. At your current savings rate, assuming the market does roughly what it has always done over long periods, you are about 9 years from the number. 9 years from the Monday morning where the alarm goes off at 6:14 and you silence it and lie there in the dark and then simply don't get up. Not because you're sick, not because it's a holiday, because you are done. 9 years is not nothing, but 9 years ago you were 22, and you remember 22, and it does not feel like a distance that swallowed you. You tell one person, a friend from college named Marcus, who works in accounting and has always been comfortable with numbers. You sit in his kitchen on a Saturday and walk him through the math. He listens. He asks 2 or 3 sharp questions. He says it makes sense. He says he had no idea you were doing this. You tell him you started 3 years ago. He asks why you never said anything. You tell him you didn't know how to explain it yet. He nods. He says he might look into it. You do not hear him mention it again. You are 34. The job changes. Not by choice exactly, by the particular kind of choice that isn't a choice because the alternative is worse. The company is reorganized in the way companies get reorganized when someone at the top decides a spreadsheet isn't quite right. Your team shrinks. Your role expands. The salary goes up $9,000, and the hours go up by more than that. And you accept it the way everyone accepts it, which is quietly, because the mortgage market in your city has done something you didn't plan for, and your rent went up $340 at renewal, and the student loans still have 3 years left, and the number on the screen still requires more time than you currently have. You increase the automatic transfer by $200 when the raise arrives. The lifestyle does not follow the income up the stairs. You have been careful about that specifically since you read the book at 27, and you have watched every person around you get a raise, and within 4 months be as stretched as they were before the raise, just at a higher altitude. The raise bought them a nicer version of the same ceiling. You bought 9 years of freedom down to 8. The portfolio crosses $100,000 on a Thursday when you are not paying attention. The notification arrives in your email, and you read it at your desk between 2 meetings, and you close the tab and go to the second meeting. And the second meeting is about a quarterly report that no one in the room will remember by spring. You remember the tab. You do not tell anyone about the tab. You are 37. The market drops. Not a dip, a drop. The kind that runs headlines for weeks and makes financial words appear on the front pages of publications that do not usually run financial words. Your portfolio falls from $189,000 to $131,000 in 11 weeks. On paper, $58,000 disappears, more than a full year of your contributions, erased in the time it takes to watch a season of something. A colleague named Brett sells everything in the 3rd week of it. He tells you at lunch that he can't afford to lose it, that he's going to wait until things stabilize and buy back in. You know what this means. You have read enough to know what this means. You say nothing. You keep the automatic transfers running through every week of the bottom. Every dollar buys more than it did before the drop. You are buying the same thing on sale, and everyone around you thinks you are doing nothing. The market comes back. It does not announce when it turns. It just turns quietly while everyone is still afraid. Brett buys back in when it feels safe. By then, it is significantly more expensive than when he sold it. He will spend the next 2 years recovering to a number he already had once. Those are 2 years he will not get back. You are 39. The portfolio is $278,000. You are 5 years from the number now, instead of 9. The gap between where you started and where you are going has been closing at a rate that is invisible month to month and undeniable year to year. You have not spoken about it at work. You have not posted about it. You have not brought it to a dinner table. The number lives in 3 separate account screens that you check once a month with the quiet, private attention of someone tending a garden they have not told anyone about. The garden is real. It is growing. No one driving past the house would know. Something shifts at this number. Not in the accounts. In you. You start declining things you used to accept out of obligation. A Sunday work call that isn't actually urgent. An evening commitment that costs you sleep and pays you nothing you couldn't have gotten from an email. You are not rude about it. You are clear. And the clarity comes from somewhere below your sternum that wasn't there at 27. At 27, you said yes to everything because the alternative felt like risk. Now you know exactly what the risk is and exactly what it costs. And you have done the math on what your hours are actually worth. And the math is no longer compatible with spending them on things that matter to no one, including the people asking. Your manager notices. She asks if everything is okay. You tell her everything is fine, which is the truest thing you have said in a professional context in years. She doesn't quite believe you. You don't blame her. Okay is not the word for what you are. What you are is positioned. And position does not look like anything from the outside. It looks exactly like fine. You are 42. The portfolio is $487,000. You are close enough to the number now that you can see the shape of it from where you stand. The mortgage has 14 months left on it. The student loans have been gone for 4 years. The gap between what comes in and what goes out has never been wider, and it has been widening every year without drama, without announcement, just the quiet arithmetic of not spending what you don't spend. You run the 4% math again. $487,000 at 4% produces $19,480 a year. Your life costs $37,200. You are not there yet, but you are close enough that close has a different feeling than it did at 28, when 9 years felt theoretical. Marcus calls on a Saturday. He is stressed in the way people get stressed when the thing holding them up has been leaning for a while and they didn't notice until it tilted. Job uncertainty, a salary that never quite kept pace, a lifestyle that matched the salary, and now the salary is unreliable. He asks how you're doing. You tell him you're doing well. He asks what you're up to these days. You tell him you've been thinking about making some changes at work. He says he might do the same. You do not tell him about the number. You ask how you can help. He says he doesn't need anything, he just needed to talk. You talk for an hour. You say nothing about the portfolio. Some things are not available to be explained in the time a phone call has. You are 44. The number arrives on a Wednesday in February, during a week that is entirely indistinguishable from every other February week, except that it is the week the accounts cross $930,000 for the first time. You are at your desk when it happens. You open the tab between a response email and a calendar invite, and the number sits there, larger than the number you calculated at the kitchen table at 28, because the number at the kitchen table was for the version of your life that costs $3,100 a month, and the version of your life that costs $3,100 a month has not existed for years. Your life costs more now, modestly more. You ran the updated calculations 6 months ago. The new number is $1,020,000. You are close. Closer than Wednesday felt when you woke up. You cross it in May. $1,047,000 across the 3 accounts on a Tuesday afternoon. You check it in the car in the parking garage before you go in for the afternoon. You sit there for a minute. You do not feel what you thought you would feel. There is no arrival, no shift in the air. The parking garage looks the same. Your coffee is the same temperature it was 30 seconds ago. What you feel is not joy exactly. It is something quieter than joy. It is the feeling of a question that has been open for 17 years, finally closing. Not dramatically, just clicking shut the way a door does when you pull it all the way instead of leaving it an inch. You go inside. You have a 2 o'clock meeting about a project that will be finished in the spring. You attend it. You take notes. You contribute 3 things that are useful and mean it. The following Monday, you give 4 weeks' notice. You do it in person, in a short meeting, with language that is plain and warm and does not require much explaining. Your manager asks if there is something they could do differently. You tell her she has been excellent, and the team has been excellent, and this is not about any of that. She asks what you'll do next. You tell her you're not sure yet. That is almost true. What is entirely true is that you don't have to be sure. That is the specific thing the number bought. Not the answer, the permission to not yet have one and be completely fine. Your last day is a Friday. People bring a cake. Someone makes a card. There are kind words said in the conference room with the glass walls, and you mean the kind words you say back. And you eat the cake, and you drive home for the last time in that direction. And the traffic is the same traffic it has always been. And you sit in it for the last time. And it costs you nothing, because you have nowhere to be. Nobody outside that conference room knows what Monday will look like. The people who knew you at 27 do not know about the number. Your neighbors do not know. The barista at the place you stop on Tuesday morning does not know. You walk in at 9:15 on a weekday, and no one asks why you are not somewhere else. You order what you always order. You sit by the window. You read something you've been meaning to read for 3 years. The commute that used to take 34 minutes each way does not happen on Tuesday, does not happen on Wednesday, does not happen on Thursday. Each morning the alarm is available and you do not need it, and that non-sound, the alarm that could go off and doesn't, is the quietest and most significant thing that has happened to you since you read a book on a phone in traffic at 27 and put it down at a red light with a feeling you didn't have a name for yet. The feeling had a name. It just took 17 years to finish saying it. Somewhere right now, someone is sitting in traffic on a Monday in October. The radio is saying something about traffic. They already know about the traffic. They have known about the traffic for a while. They are not miserable. They are just inside something and they cannot see the walls. The walls are real, but they are not permanent. They are made of a specific kind of math, and the math has a different answer than the one the arrangement keeps suggesting. The escape does not look like an escape from the outside. It looks like a Tuesday at a coffee shop. It looks like a Wednesday in February when a number crosses a line on a screen in a parking garage and the coffee is the same temperature it was 30 seconds ago. It looks like nothing to everyone who isn't you, which turns out to be the only way it ever works. The exit is quiet by design. The door does not announce itself. You just stop going in. And nobody, not a single person in the world who watched you sit in that traffic for 17 years, notices the morning you are not in it anymore.